Hi guys, I hope you're keeping well. So today I'd like to share with you about a phrase that I've heard come up a few times in the last couple of days. It's just 3 simple little words that are really powerful, and I think you and I would both love to be able to speak these confidently and consistently over our lives. And the phrase goes like this: all is well. Isn't it beautiful? It's come up in a message from a friend, in a song that I heard, and it's just been going around and around in my mind, and I've really been putting some thought into this. And I look back to, in the Bible, in 2 Kings, it speaks about the account of the Shunammite woman. So there was this woman and her husband that lived in a village, and every so often a prophet, a man of God by the name of Elisha, would pass through their village. And this man, he saw many great miracles come to pass through his faith in God and his relationship with God. And this couple were great friends of his. And one day he said, "What can I do for you?" And they explained how they couldn't have children. They didn't have any sons or daughters. So Elisha, the man of God, prayed to God on their behalf and told them that in a year's time they would see this promised son. So this was a great miracle. And that's exactly what came to pass. They had the son, and there was great joy in their home. And fast forward a few years, and one day, completely out of the blue, this little boy, as he's growing up, suddenly complains of a severe headache. He collapses, and a few hours later, he actually dies in the arms of his mother, this Shunammite woman. And what she does after that is absolutely mind-blowing, and it is extreme, but I think there's a lot that we can learn from this story. So in this moment of her extreme grief and trauma, when her promised child has just passed away, she leaves the child on a bed in the home, and she rushes off immediately to go and find the man of God, Elisha. And as she's on her way, she's asked, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" And she responds with that same phrase of 3 words: all is well. She doesn't stop. She doesn't turn to the left or the right. She doesn't speak to anyone or explain anything to anyone. She doesn't break down. She doesn't give in to her emotions. She stands strong, and she keeps going towards that man of God. And as she's arriving close to the man of God's house, the servant comes out, and the servant says, "Is everything okay? What's going on?" He knew this was an unusual thing for her to just arrive like this at the home. And the woman, the Shunammite woman, responded again and said, "All is well." And she kept moving on, moving on. She gets closer to Elisha's house, and she's asked, "Is everything okay? Is everything all right at home? Is your husband okay? Is your child okay?" Again, she responds, "All is well." Eventually, she gets to Elisha. He figures out what's going on. He goes back with the Shunammite woman to her home. He prays over this boy, and the boy is revived and brought back to life. And it's a great, great miracle. But what can we learn from this story? How does it apply to your life? Well, in that moment, when the Shunammite woman had every reason to break down and to respond in a natural way, she held on to her faith because she knew this was a very rare situation where she had been promised by God through the prophet Elisha that she would have this promised son. And she had enough faith in God, and she knew enough about God to know that he wouldn't give her a son, a promised son, and then just take him away a couple of years later. So she knew in that moment when the child was suffering and the child passed away, she knew this is not of God. This is not the promise of God. And she refused to give in to her feelings and her emotions, and she refused to give up. She went on her way, and she knew that if she engaged in any conversation with anyone else along that way in that time of difficulty and in that time of trial, that it wouldn't end well. And she kept pursuing, and she went straight to ultimately the word of God to claim the victory, to have her son revived and restored to her, and to prevent any heartache. So what is happening in your life? What promises of God have you seen come to pass, and now it looks like they're under a threat? It looks like you could see the death of that dream, that promise that has come into your life that you're so grateful and thankful for, and now you're in a trial and it feels like it's about to be taken away from you. What is your response? Are you going to break down and do what anyone else would do, or are you as a child of God going to hold on to his promises and pursue that no matter what? Not turning to the left or to the right, not engaging in conversation about how terrible the situation is, but declaring over your life confidently, despite what you see around you, all is well. We walk by faith and not by sight, and that means that sometimes what we see around us doesn't tie in with what we've been promised or what we've received in our hearts as children of God. But when we walk by faith, knowing confidently what God has promised to us time and time again in His Word, then we have the advantage. So I encourage you, whatever you are facing today, don't look at necessarily just what you see in the natural. Stand on God's promises. Seek His Word. Pray to Him. Ask for His guidance and remind yourself of God's promises to you, and you shall see them come to pass. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. God bless you. Bye.